My mind began racing. What if he built something? Greg nodded slowly. That's what I'm thinking. But where is it? We both looked at the body again. Then Greg said something that made the air in the room suddenly feel colder. What if it's inside him? We didn't speak for a moment. Then I crouched down beside the chair. Let's check his pockets, carefully trying not to disturb the objects on the floor. I reached toward the man's jacket. The moment my fingers touched the fabric, click. Every metal object in the circle shifted just slightly, like a collective breath. Greg whispered, "You see that?" Yeah. I slid my hand into the man's pocket. Empty, other pocket, also empty. Greg leaned closer to the man's chest. Wait, what? He pointed at the sweater, right over the center of the man's sternum. There was a faint bulge, small, circular, maybe the size of a coin. Cut it open, Greg asked. I hesitated. Something about this whole situation felt wrong. Not dangerous exactly, just wrong. But we needed answers. I pulled out my pocket knife. Alright. Greg stepped back slightly. Go slow. I pressed the blade against the fabric and made a small cut. The sweater parted easily. Beneath it was a thin undershirt, and beneath that, Greg sucked in a breath. Embedded just under the skin was a small metal disc about 2 inches wide and glowing faintly blue. What the? Greg whispered. The glow pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. I leaned closer. Is that click? Every object in the circle shifted again, more noticeably this time. The toy car rolled a few inches. The screws rotated, the coin slid slightly inward. Greg backed up instinctively. Okay, that's definitely reacting to something. The blue glow brightened, then dimmed, then brightened again. Pulsing, slow, rhythmic. Greg looked at me. You thinking what I'm thinking? That this guy installed some kind of experimental device in his own chest. Yeah. And maybe it's still running. Exactly. The disc pulsed again. Click, more movement in the circle. Now the objects were visibly creeping inward, millimeter by millimeter, drawn toward the gray man. Greg wiped his forehead. Okay, this might be bad. Why? Because magnetic fields that strong usually need serious power. I glanced at the glowing disc, and if the power source is still active. Greg finished the thought. Then what happens when it runs out? We both stared at the device. Neither of us had any idea what it was, or what it was doing, or why the gray was sitting in a chair surrounded by metal objects. But one question had just become very important. What was the device building?